Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our little weekly conversation. Okay, right now we are in the ending phases of Module 5. We have Module 6 coming ahead. We're kind of in the middle of the second unit of this course, so we're dealing with those legal and ethical issues surrounding integrating with patient care. So, all right. Couple things about, especially about the course conference. I know that a lot of you have had difficulty in getting hold of me this week. My schedule has been absolutely crazy this week. But what I have done, and you'll see it, of course, in the course news, it's right below this particular posting, is a scheduler. So I've set aside about 20 hours next week to take care of course conferences. So don't worry, no points off. So please don't panic about that. But use the scheduler. It's all blocked off into little 20-minute segments. We don't use 20 minutes, but that allows me scheduling time in between course conferences. You simply will click on the time that you want. You'll fill in a simplified scheduling form, and I will call you at that time. So, and I've already set aside that time next week on my schedule. So, barring any major catastrophe, we should be all set with that, and I can get caught up with all of the remaining course conferences. For those folks I've talked to this week, I think we've had some really good discussions about you starting the program. Many of you are just starting the program. There's a few of you that have been here for a few semesters, but some good conversations there. It seems like everybody so far is managing the process with this summer and coming into the program, so that looks very good. But don't forget of the student support services that are available to you, especially like the Writing Center. Should you have any difficulty with your writing assignments, you can always use our Writing Center. Remember, if you are going to use our Writing Center, that you start early in the process. They don't do proofreading the day before something is due. They really want to work with you to help make you a better writer, but you really have to start early. It does take time, especially with the exchange going back and forth between the Writing Center and yourself, being at a distance, usually through email, but sometimes we use some other methods like video conferencing, but it can take some time. So you got a little bit of added time in there too. So long story short, if you're using our Writing Center, start with them sooner rather than later. If you also noticed, I did put some helpful links and tips, including our link to the Writing Center last week. So please look at that for some more information. All right, so again, looks like everybody's doing well so far that I'm hearing in the course conferences. And you'll have that opportunity to schedule with me next week in Module 6. So we should be all caught up with our course conferences. If for some reason you look at the scheduler and there's not a block of time that works for your schedule, let me know. Just send me a text message with an alternate time. Maybe we could do something on Saturday of next week. Happy to do that for folks that can't find a time that works with, I know, your crazy healthcare schedules for many of you. All right, so looking at my notes here, as a reminder on the question of the week, make sure that you are fulfilling all the requirements of the assignment, especially with word count and with the responses back to other students. There were a few of you that didn't have all the responses. Remember, you're required to have 2. So if you want to get all those points, take a few extra minutes and respond back to 2 of your peers, read their comments, and give a meaningful response back to them, making sure that you have all the points in that. So you don't get a few points off for not having that full closing that response cycle with them. Many of you, I'm very pleased to see, are having conversations back and forth. 7, 8 responses as you guys go back and forth and talk about these topics. That is really the goal that we shoot for. So please don't think that you have to close the conversation after you do your 2 responses. Please continue on with that if you wish. I only grade on the main post and the 2 responses. I know sometimes we can be very busy in our weeks, and continuing that conversation can be a little difficult, but I encourage you to do that if at all possible. Okay, so question of the week, make sure you get all the little checkoffs done so you can get full points for that. Also, in talking to many of you, the audio, we've tried now to use audio feedback for your last unit paper. Sounds like all of you did well. The folks that I've talked to, that they were able to hear my audio feedback. So yay, that's a win. Kind of a new technology we're starting here. I'll continue that on with unit paper 2 with the audio feedback. And knock on wood here, we hope to have a video with that maybe by next semester, so you could actually see your instructor and have your instructor talk to you personally about the paper through audio and video. So right now, well, we got audio. We'll work on video for next semester. Unit paper. I've got a note on here to talk about the unit paper. If you've noticed in the course news, I put the parameters of the unit paper. The unit paper for our ethical and legal issues is a little bit different than the one that you did before. Look at the requirements that I have in there. You have to have 2 pages for the body. You have to have an APA style. It's not going to be strict APA because what we're dealing here, I'm basically having you answer essay questions. You have 4 questions you have to answer with 1 to 2 full paragraphs. Please make sure that you're using full paragraphs. I know a few of you in the last paper had paragraphs that were, 2 sentences, 3 sentences. You really want to look at a fully developed paragraph. I do have some help on paragraphs that was located in the writing help in the course news. But please have full paragraphs. I would say about 5 sentences. Not always, but about 5. If you're always like, gee, I got 4 sentences here, let me make sure my paragraph is structured correctly. I mean, you can do it in 4, but my rule of thumb is I kind of look at 5. If I have anything less than that, I want to make sure I've constructed a decent paragraph. Of course, and decent sentences within that paragraph. But of course, in the course news, in that writing help, I got some kind of quick techniques or helping guide with paragraphs and sentences and transitions as well. So if you haven't printed those out, please take a look at those. But going back to the unit paper 2, you're going to have those 4 questions. Each question you'll answer with 1 to 2 full paragraphs. That really doesn't lend itself to true APA style. So again, use the intent of APA as much as possible as you're writing your thoughtful responses to those questions. The big one I'll be looking for will be in-text citations. If you are pulling anything from the readings or other sources that you are citing that information, we have a requirement of 2 references for that paper. So kind of a little different spin on it, but again, try to apply the flavor of APA through that. The first paper that you wrote was more of a traditional APA paper. This one is not. You will find, as an aside, as you go through the program, some instructors in the, we call it the threaded discussion or the question of the week, or whatever term they have for it. They have almost an APA requirement with that too, including in-text citations. My intent for it is to be much more of a casual conversation, but be aware that some instructors may use it as a more academic conversation, and please look at their requirements. They can all be a little bit different for each course, and I'd hate to have you lose some points there. Okay, so that covers question of the week, unit paper, and course conferences. I think, again, all caught up on the grading from everything that you had last week. Oh, I do have a note here about quizzes. Again, I think I mentioned it maybe in our last video, but just so you know, when I go through the quizzes, I look for any quiz that has more than 50%. If more than 50% of you have missed a particular quiz question, there will be that question will be tossed out. So notice if you've noticed that your quiz grades they just popped up by a percentage or 2 or more because I've given you back the points for that missed question. No, that's where that's happening. I think we had one. I think it was last week. There was a question where 50% of you missed that, so there was a little bit of upward movement on the quiz grades. Remember that I said earlier as I started this off, we will have some extra credit opportunities, so be looking for that as well sometime next week. All right. that pretty much covers it. I will check in with you all next week, and thank you for watching.